Okay. So I'll just very quickly explain to you people what we have done all these days, and then uh, where we are right now. We are in the fifth module. I told you that we are doing initially what we did. We spoke about network programming in the fifth module. Then we learned what is the meaning of web services. In web services, we studied two things: XML and JSON. XML and JSON. In XML, I told you that the format is always like this. Then we saw how to parse through XML, how to write a Python program to read XML data. If you have an XML file, if you want to read data from there, we learned how to extract data from this XML file. And then remember that even JSON is similar to this type of a pattern. JSON is also similar to this type. In XML, you have tags like this. You have tags like this. Okay. You know that in XML, you have tags like this. You have root tags, and inside that, you have multiple tags. And these tags store data inside it. These tags actually store data between it. So like this, you can actually take a content of an entire database table and you can convert it into an XML file like this. And then you can transfer it from one place to another place. So that's the reason I told you last time that it is also called as a floating database. So where XML is a format in which you have tags like this. You have tags, TAGS, tags like this. Okay. And these tags are used to place the data between it and to structure the XML document. And then if I want to parse this XML document in my Python file, then this is the library that I have to use, xml.etree.elementary, and then how to create an object. All that we have already seen it in the last class. Now, what is JSON? Okay, what is JSON? JSON is JavaScript object notation. It is a short form. JSON is a short form of JavaScript object notation. Now, don't worry about what is JavaScript here, what is the meaning of notation here. Don't worry about that right now. Just remember that the data, how you structure it inside an XML document by using tags here. In JSON, we structure it using flower brackets. We structure it using flower brackets. Same thing, the same data representation. How do we represent the data in XML? We have tags. We have a root tag. And then inside that, we have smaller tags again. ID, there is a tag. And then after that, for name, there is a tag. Like that, remember there are tags in XML. Now the same document of XML which was there, if I want to convert that into JSON, this is how it will look like. This is how it will look like. Okay, I start with the flower bracket, then I write name tag, I write the name of the person. Then I write the phone tag, then I write the phone. Email, I write the email, so on. So remember that the same data that you represent in XML can be represented in JSON format. But in JSON format, you don't use tags. You don't use tags. Rather, here you make use of flower brackets. Okay. Now, don't worry about what is this format here right now. In fact, the XML document itself is a little complicated because you have attributes there and all that. That's why you see all these multiple flower brackets inside. Otherwise, if your XML document is simple, your JSON also will be very simple. Okay. So what I want to teach you right now is that a simple JSON format from XML format. So if I have a simple XML format file, then I can convert it into JSON. Convert it in the sense like this is another way of representing the data. In JSON, we use flower brackets. In XML, we use tags. This is one thing we have to remember. And both are used for exchanging data. If I want to send data from one place to another place, from the source to the destination. Okay, if I want to send data from the source to the destination, I can send the data either in the form of XML by using those tags, or I can send it in the form of JSON. I can construct my JSON file like this by putting the data in this format by using flower brackets and all that, and then I can send it to the destination. And then at the destination, if you want to retrieve data, by using a Python program, then in Python you have library to extract data from a JSON file. Just like in Python you have a library for extracting XML data, like that in Python you have library to extract JSON data. Now, the first thing that comes to the mind is which is more good, which is better, XML or JSON. As far as you ask me, see, both have got their own advantages and disadvantages. But the immediate advantage that comes to my mind, okay, and that everybody agrees to, is that in XML there are extra tags that has to be used. Extra tags has to be used. But in JSON you don't require those tags. Okay, so the amount of data that is getting transferred from one place to another place in case of XML is more. Tags has to go, no? So the data is big, huge. But in case of JSON, there is no tags, so little data goes. Same data goes, but not heavy. Tags are not there, so it's not heavy. Okay, so that is immediate advantage of JSON. Okay, and nowadays I told you that if data has to be exchanged between two computers, two applications, you can either use XML depending upon your choice, or you can use JSON. Nowadays, people are using JSON because it is lightweight, and there are a lot of advantages of JSON also. Okay, so if this is how the JSON file looks like. Now let us see in Python how to extract. Okay, this is all given explanation for that. Now they have given how to parse a JSON file. Okay, let us see how to parse a JSON file. So let us say if I have a JSON file like this, always remember that JSON file is written in a square bracket. Square bracket starts here, square bracket ends here, and inside that you have the JSON. Okay, you have ID is equals to 000, X is equals to 2, name is equals to check. So this is the details of the first person. Okay, now this JSON file is for this JSON file which I'm showing you is for this XML file. First, let us look at the XML file. Yeah, this is the XML file. Okay, this is the XML file. What is XML file? You have heading as stuff. Inside that you have users. Inside that you have user. User has got an X value attribute which is equals to 2. ID is 002. Then there is a name tag. Name is Chuck. Then there is the details of the second user. X is equals to 7 for that user. ID is 009 and the name is Brent. And then that is the end of the XML file. Now the same thing if I want to represent in JSON, this is how I do it. This is it. So I start my JSON like this. I put a square bracket, then I put a flower bracket like this, a curly bracket, and then I write ID is equals to 001, X is equals to 2, name is equals to check. And then ID is equals to 009. This is the second record. From here to here is the second record. From here to here is the first record because there is a comma in between here. There's a comma in between here, and I represent my JSON. So if this is my JSON, how do I parse through this JSON? First of all, I have to load this. I put all this JSON into a variable called as data, and then I load the data. JSON dot. There is a built-in. Like you have to import JSON. This is the library that you have to use. JSON. You have to import that in your Python file. Okay. Then you have to use JSON.load, load the data into a variable called as IO. This is an object. Info is an object now. Object is equal to JSON.load data. So in info, what has come? The entire JSON file has come into info in the form of an object. Then, if you want to parse through it, you simply do this. For item in info, first item.name you display, item.id you display, and item of X you display. So you parse through all these items, and then simply you are able to parse through all the JSON files. As simple as that. First of all, load the JSON file into info, then take a loop for item in info. Okay, for item in info. Then take each item in the iteration. In each iteration of the loop here, item will contain the details of the first record. First record is from where to here. First record is from this flower bracket to this flower bracket. Okay. So now, if I say item of name, it will display Chuck. If I say item of ID, it will display 001. And if I say item of X, it will display 2. And then in the next iteration, the second record from here to here, the second record will get loaded into item. And then if I say item of name, it will display Chuck again, and then 7 and 009. Yeah, here there's a little mistake. Here name is here in the first record, also name is Chuck. In the second record, name is also Chuck, but this has to be different. Okay, so this is how we parse JSON. Very simple. First load it, then take a loop, and then display the different variables. Simple. So we have learned how to parse through JSON. Same thing. XML data can be parsed in a different way using that its built-in library. JSON has to be parsed using the built-in library JSON. First load it and then take a loop. So I'm not going to spend much time on this. I hope you understand. I'm not even going to execute this program and show. Please do it yourself. And if you get any errors, of course, I'm there. You please get back to me. So this is how the output will look like. Now let us go further and understand what is the meaning of application programming interface, API. What is the meaning of API? Now, this is important, and I have already given you a little introduction to what is API. Web services, I told you, is some sort of a service that is given to people on the internet. Web services can be very simple. I gave one example of adding two numbers. You have to pass as parameters to parameters, two numbers, and then it will add that and give you the result back. Okay, it can be as simple as that. It can be a little more complicated, like I have to send the name of the company, and then the API or the web service will send me back what the share value of that company. So a web service can even do that. And then the web service can even translate. I showed you that live example of Google. From here, I have to pass from which language to which language I want to translate, and then I have to send the translation text. and then it translates it into that language, and then I get back my translation. So that is a Google web service available. So web services provide a lot of services, different types of services. And these web services are available. These web services are available through APIs. Through APIs. What is the meaning of an API? API is application programming interface. You can think of an API as a web service. So in the terms of a programmer, an API is something which you use in an application. Okay, you use it in an application. Okay, and these APIs are nothing but the web services which are provided by this company. So if I say there is a translate API available on the net, it means that there is some web service available on the internet to translate. If I say there is an API available for getting the current share value of a company, then it means that there is a web service available for giving me the share value and so on. So API web service is one and the same. The punchline is API. Okay, we call it as an application programming interface, and web service. Well, web service started very long back, and then it had its own way of doing it, and then the process changed, and now it has come in the form of an API. If I tell you that web services and API are exactly the same, then it would be a little wrong if I say that. But web services started long back. They provided service on the internet, but to use those services, the procedure was different. Now those same services has to be accessed through this APIs. And what is this API? An API is a URL. What I showed you the other day, the live demonstration of Translate on Google, that was an example of an API. What I did was I simply typed in my browser the URL, and then I typed inside from which language to which language I need the translation, and then after that I sent the text. It translated that and it gave it back to me. Okay, so that I invoke an API. Okay, I requested that web service through an API. So API is the interface through which you access your web service. Rather, let us put it in that way. An API is an interface through which we access the web service. Now remember this definition. If they ask an examination what is an API, you have to say that an API is the interface which will allow programmers to access web services. How does the API look like? An API is nothing more than a URL. An API is nothing more than a URL. It is an URL which you have to type it and put it into the address bar of the browser, and then it requests that API. The API can send you back. A result in the form of XML or JSON which you want to receive, and then after that you parse it in your Python and then make use of it. So now that you understood what is the meaning of an API, now let me tell you that there are two different types of APIs. Have a look at this small diagram here. Okay. Let us say this is your application. Travel application, and then there are these many services running on the internet: auto rental service, hotel reservation service, airline reservation service. And then if this application wants to access any one of these services, then I have to go through its API. This is the meaning of API. This diagram is good. I mean, from here you will understand what is the meaning of the difference between a service and an API. Services are available on the internet. We access these services through the API. Okay. Fine then. So if they ask you what is an API, maybe you can draw this diagram. In your own words, you can write whatever application it is. You can write here my application. You can write here service 1, service 2, service 3, and then through the API. Your own. You don't have to remember and by heart exactly this only. Hotel reservation, airline. No, you don't have to. You simply write your own services and you draw the diagram in your own words. You will get 3 marks. Now, this is the explanation for all this. Then I was telling you that there are different types of web services or APIs available. Now, this is called a geocoding. Okay? Google's geocoding web service. Now, there is one API. There are so many APIs available. There are so many web services available on the internet. I gave you some examples also. One is to get the share value. The second one to get translation. And then there is one more called as a geocoding web service. Now, this geocoding web service is of Google. What it does is, you have to just send it to this service the name of the area you stay, and then it will give you back what is the latitude and longitude of that area in terms of latitude and longitude. This service is available. If I say, if I say, let us say Ramdev Belgaum, and if I send it to the service will send me back what is the latitude and longitude of that area. So this type of service is available, and this service is called as the geocoding web service. This is called as the geocoding web service. Okay, where you convert an address, where you convert a street address into latitude and longitude. This is only an example. In the examination, I don't know whether they will ask you this question or not, but you should remember that there are different types of web services available. One of them is the Google's geocoding web service, to which you have to pass street address, and then it will give you back the latitude and longitude. And then they have given one example also here. Okay, they have given one example also here. They have written a program to invoke a web service. They have written a program to invoke a web service. There is a URL that is over here, and then they have said enter the location, and then they have retrieved the characters length and all that, and have displayed it here. Well, this seems to be a good example. Actually, I would really execute this and show it to you. Okay, but you can see that finally, when you call the service, you have to call it through the URL. You have to enter the location. Let us say Ramdev welcome, and then you have to do a few things here. You have to request using URL lib, and then what you get back from there is JSON. What you get back from that is JSON. So you have to pass through that JSON, and then in the JSON you can display the latitude and longitude. You can display in the JSON latitude and longitude. Okay, so this is the program for that. This is the program for that. I have already shared the notes with you. You can type this program, copy paste. You can type the program and then execute and show it. See it. In fact, I really wanted to do this, but I want to go ahead and then I want to finish this part. So we have to give street address, and then it gives us back the latitude and longitude. So now, what is security and API usage? This is security and API usage. Now, you may be asking a question, sir, are all these APIs free of cost? Can I use it any number of times? Is it free? Do I have to register for this, or it is open? Now remember that most of the APIs are open. You don't have to register. You don't need any authentication for this. But there are some APIs which give you very, very useful information, which gives you very, very useful service. Those APIs, those type of services are not free, and they are not open. If you want to access them, if you want to use them, you need something called as an API key. You need something called as an API key. An API key is something which you have to put into your URL. You have to put something in your URL, and then after that, you can use that API. One API which I always use is sending SMS. I have a URL. If I copy and paste it into in the browser address bar, it will send an SMS to the phone number which I put it into that URL. Okay, but that requires an API. That requires an API. That is an example of a closed, protected API. Okay, what I gave you an example is I have a URL. Okay, if I copy that URL and paste it into that browser, in that URL somewhere I have to write the message that I want to send as SMS, and in the same URL I have to write the phone number to whom I want to send the SMS. And if I click on the enter button, when this URL is requested, it actually sends one SMS to that person whose phone number is written in the URL. Okay. Now these type of APIs are not free. They are not free, and they are not open. You have to buy something called an API key, okay, which I have purchased for my purpose, and then I have to put that into the URL. Only then they will be, they can be accessed, they can be used. So security and API usage, you have to remember one thing, that some of the APIs are open, some of them don't require registration. Some which are very useful are protected by API keys. You have to buy them, and then only you will be able to use them. How do this authentication happen? There is a protocol called as OAuth, Open Authentication. OAuth is the protocol which is used for authenticating APIs. Okay, that's it. You don't have to remember anything more about OAuth. OAuth is the protocol which is used for applying API key usage on the APIs and the web services. OAuth, remember on that, and that's it. This is the end of APIs and web services. Next starts databases. Okay, next starts databases and SQL. Now this I want to actually zoom through. I want to just go through. This is the last part of the subject. This is the last part of the subject. I really wish that I could have actually shown you the output of this. I have written one program. I will execute and show it to you. Okay, but right now, please remember that this is the last part of the Python programming language subject. What is that in this part? This is the third chapter or the third topic in module number 5, where we are going to learn databases and SQL with Python. How is databases connected with Python? Where do we use them? How to use them? So first, I hope before I start with databases, I hope that the previous what I have taught you is clear with you people. First, we started with network programming, in which URL lib, all that we studied, how to request images, how to request, all that we saw, and then after that we started with web services. We understood XML, we understood what is JSON, and then today we understood what is meant an API, and that's it. This is what is there in the second module, second part of the fifth module. A third part, last part of the fifth module is using databases. I don't have to teach you what is a database. You already know. You already know what is the meaning of a database. A database is a software which will allow you to store data permanently on the what is that? Secondary memory, like the hard disk. Okay. Once it gets stored into the secondary memory, that is the hard disk, and once it gets stored into the hard disk, secondary memory, then even if you restart the machine or the power failure, you can still retrieve it. So there are many applications in the world which requires that data has to be stored permanently on the hard disk. For example, banking software. If let us say there is a software from banking, if people go and open their accounts, they deposit money, this data has to be kept in the database. If the machine is restarted, the data is lost, how will you keep track? So you need to store data. Many applications require that they need to store data. They have to keep data. Okay, and even if let us say the machine is restarted or all that, you should get back the data. You should get the data back. So that's why we use databases. We use databases to store data. Okay, and how data is stored in a database, you all know it is stored in the form of tables. Tables has got rows and columns. I'm not going to get into all that. I hope you all understand that. If you read this one, you'll understand. Okay, so data in a database is stored in the form of tables. Tables has got rows and columns. In database terminology, a table is called as an entity. A record, rows are called as tuples. Columns are called as attributes. Please remember these terms. Okay, and there are different types of database management softwares like Oracle, MySQL, Microsoft SQL Server, PostgreSQL, and SQLite. These are the different types of servers that we have. Okay, these are the different types of database management softwares that we have. We have Oracle, we have MySQL, we have Microsoft SQL Server, we have PostgreSQL, and then SQLite. These are all different database servers. They all provide the same thing. In Oracle, you can create a table, you can add records into the table. In MySQL, you can create a table, you can add records into the table. In Microsoft SQL Server also, you can do the same. So all these softwares provide the same facility, but they are all different from different companies. Okay, Oracle compared to MySQL is a little more secure. MySQL is more faster than Oracle. So like this, there are advantages and disadvantages of all, but they all provide the same service. They allow you to store data in the form of data. Okay. The one which we are going to use for our this topic is SQLite. SQLite is a lightweight database management software which will allow us to create tables, insert records into the tables, delete records from the tables, update records into the tables, and so on. Okay, it will allow us to do all those things. And the reason why we are using SQLite is because it comes built in with it comes built in with Python. It comes built in with Python. Now that we have already installed Python, SQLite comes along with it. I don't have to install any other software. For example, if I want to do Python and Oracle connectivity, I want to show you, then I have to install Oracle separate. If I want to show you Python and MySQL connectivity, then I have to install MySQL. But SQLite comes along with Python. It is internal part of Python. So it's good that we use this database. Okay. So all that is there inside this. Just read what is SQLite. It is lightweight and all that. Now comes the database concept. Okay, I hope you know all this. These are called as the tuples. These are the attributes and so on. This is an example of a student's database: roll number, name, date of birth, marks, all that. So they have explained what is the table, all that. And then coming to what is SQL, the structured query language. Structured query language is a language in which we have to speak to the database server. If I want to create a new table, or if I want to insert a new record into the table, or if I have to update something, or if I have to delete something, I have to speak it in a language which the database software understands. Okay. For example, if I want to create a table, I have to write a language, I have to write a query which the server understands. I have to write, if I want to create a table, I write create table name into bracket, I write on all the columns. And then each column will have a data type, whether it is storing a text or an integer or a floating point number or a varchar, I have to specify. If I do any mistake in typing my query for creating if I miss a comma or a semicolon or the data type or the name of the table or some keyword, then you know that it will not execute that query. It will not execute that query. Okay, I'm sure everybody is aware of all this. Okay, just somebody send me a chat message saying that yes, sir, we know it. If you say like that, then I will continue. Otherwise, I'm going to explain you all these queries, insert query, delete query, and all that. Please quickly just say yes or no. How is it I'm not getting a chat reply so far? Are you all there? Now, what I'm trying to tell you people is that what I'm trying to say is, I hope that you know what is the meaning of a database, and inside the database there are tables, how to create a table, then how to insert records into the table, okay, the insert command, all that. I will revise it, anyhow it is there, I have to revise that, okay. But here you need not go into detail. We are not studying queries, subqueries, big queries. No, we are only getting introduced to what is DBMS. We are getting introduced to what is the meaning of a database management system. It is only introduction. We don't have to go into too much of details of this. Okay, we don't have to go into too much of details of this. So there is one chat reply now. Okay, Akshata says that this we have studied. Okay, fine, no problem. Thank you, Akshata, for replying. Now, the structured query language is a language in which we have to speak to the database management system. For example, if I want to create a new table, I have to always use the create command. I have to use the create database command to create a database. If I want to create a table, then I have to use a create table command. Create table command or create table query, whatever you want to call it as. If you want to alter the table, then you have to use the alter table. Drop, if you want to delete a table, drop table. If you want to select data from the database, then if you want to extract data from the database, you use the select command. Then insert into table name, update, delete. So these are the various queries that you people should know. You people should know. Okay, and it is not compulsory in the examination. They may or may not ask you, but then still you should know this uh, basic queries of a database management system. First is create table, insert into table, update, delete, drop table. So these are few things that you should know. These are the 5 different types of queries that you should know. Create table, insert, delete, update, and drop table. These are the things that you should know. Okay. And how to use them? There are queries to do that. Of course, when you define a column, you have to associate with it a data type, what type of data it is going to store. So if I define a column called as roll number, then it will be an integer. If I define a student name as a column, text, and so on. These are the different data types that you associate each column with. Okay. And then finally, this is how we create a table. This is an example. Create table tracks. Create table tracks. Title is the first column name. It is of type text. Place is another column, and it is integer. Simple. This is how we create a table. Create table name. Column is title. Data type is text. Second column is place. Data type is integer. Similarly, how to execute the insert. Why do we use the insert query? We use it for inserting a record into the table. Insert into tracks, title and place values my way, comma 15. Why did I write this in single quotes? My way is why did I write in single quotes? Because title is defined as text. Whatever is text column has to be put in single quotes. Why did I not put this 15 into single quotes? Because it is a second column is place, it is an integer. So if it is an integer, you don't put that in single quotes. If it is text, you put it into single quotes and so on. I mean, you know this. Then select star from tracks. Select star from tracks where title is equals to my way. This is conditional extracting the data, and so on. Update tracks. Set place is equals to 16 where title is equals to my way. Update also you know. Delete from tracks where title is equals to my way. So these are the different types of queries that you people should know. These are the commands that you people should know. Okay, which are those? Create, insert, select, update, and delete. Okay, delete and update. Now, let us see in Python how to connect to this database. Let us see in Python how to connect to this database and how to create tables, how to insert data into the tables. Very, very simple. It's quite simple. This is an example. This is an example. 4 lines of code only you can see. First of all, if you want to use database management system, connect to SQLite, you have to import SQLite 3. You have to import this library, SQLite 3, you have to import. And then after that, you have to create a connection object. Connection is equal to SQLite3.connect is a method which you have to use. SQLite3.connect into bracket, write the name of the database. Database name is music.sqlite. So this is the name of the database. This is what you have to pass. And then after that, you have to create a cursor. You have to create a cursor to execute your queries. Cursor, CUR is equals to connection.cursor. Take the cursor from the connection object. Okay, what is a cursor? A cursor is something like a file handle. If you remember your file handling, what we did in file handling, we created a handle, and then using that handle, we read the data from the file, we wrote data to the file, we were able to read data from the file, we were able to write data to the file using the file handle. So exactly like that. A cursor is like a handle which will allow you to execute your queries against the database. A cursor is the handle using which you execute your queries. So how do we do it? We first import SQLite3, SQLite3.connect, write the name of the database. What you get is a connection, and then connection.cursor, take a cursor, CUR, and then using the CUR cursor, then execute your queries. Cursor.execute into bracket. Whatever query you want to execute, use cursor to execute it. Cursor.execute into bracket, write down the query that you want to execute. The first that I do is I drop the table if it exists tracks. I did, what is this? Drop table tracks. What does this query do? Drop the table if it exists. What is the name of the table? Tracks. Then after that, create the table. Cursor.execute, create table tracks. Create the table with 2 columns, title and place. Title is text and place is integer. And then after that, connection.close. This has to come on the next line actually. This connection.close has to come on the next line, but it is written here. Okay, so don't worry, this has to come on the next line. So after you have executed these 2 queries, then you close the connection to the database. Connection.close you do. Finish. So now you have successfully created a table. You have successfully created a table. Okay, and then they've given explanation here. What does the connect function does? What does the cursor do? And all that is given. Very simple. Whatever queries you want to execute, please use the cursor to do it. Please use the cursor to do it. Okay. So now let us go further. Let us understand this diagram here. What is this cursor? If this is your program, your program is here, and using the cursor, you can do execute function. What will execute function do? It will execute any type of a query: insert, delete, update, create table, all that. And this is your database. This is your database. The one which looks like a barrel here is the database. Cursor is the interface between the database and your program. It will allow you to execute your queries. Okay. Let us go for another example. Okay. First, what I do. This is for inserting data into the database. This is the example. Okay. First of all, import SQLite, connect to music.sqlite, then create a cursor, connection.cursor, cursor. First create a table, cursor.execute, drop the table if it exists tracks. Then after that, if the table already exists, drop it. The meaning of this is please drop the table if it already exists and then create the table. Okay, if it is already there, delete it, then create the table. Create table tracks, 2 columns, title and place. Titles is text, place is integer. Then after that, cursor.execute, insert into tracks, title comma place, values 100 struct comma 20. So I've created this particular statement here creates the first record. The first record, what it contains, 100 struct and 20. Then cursor.execute, insert into tracks. This is a second insert command. I want to insert one more record into the table. So insert into tracks, title and place, my wage and 50. My wage and 50. So this is the second record. Then after that, you do connection.commit. You have to commit. And then after that, what I do is I parse through. I want to parse through all the database records which you have already done. So I do cursor.execute, select title place from tracks, or select star from tracks will also do. And then after that, take a for loop and loop through all the records and display. Loop through all the records and display. So it will display these from here to here, will display all the records in the database table, and the delete here will delete tracks where place is less than 100. So, so this is the program for creating a table, inserting records, displaying the records, and deleting the records. Okay. So now immediately I will run this program here. I have already typed this program. The name of the program is DB example. There's 1 minute remaining. Okay. So if I execute, so you can see that it displayed me the first record under struct 20, my way 15. So these are the two things that I inserted, under struct 20 and my way is 15. And this is the same program here. It's the same program here. This is Python number 5 DB example. Yeah, this is the program. So what I did here is I imported SQLite. I opened the database, created the cursor, created my table, inserted the two records into the table. Then I displayed by taking select star from table tracks. So what we have learned here is, this is the output of the program. What we have learned here is we have learned how to do database connectivity with Python, And the entire thing after this, if there is anything, it's completely based on that, how to drop tables, how to delete tables, how to insert tables and all that. Now I leave this note with the people. Okay, I leave this note with the people, go through this, execute some programs. Okay, and then if you have any doubts, you can come back. So this is the end of Python.